Welcome back on this glorious and amazing day to all you incredible individuals that constantly grow and find out different paths and different ways and different philosophies how to make our lives better, easier, greater, deeper, and more spiritual. And let's continue where we left off last week. Last week we said we will not deflect and blame the other kids, which my child has joined that group and now has become a troublemaker, as we call them. So what is behind it? What is the cause? We spoke that this whole concept of joining a bad group is a symptom. The cause is very, very simple. There are two general causes, but within it, there's hundreds of details. I am not going to go into the details. And if you don't fit into this category, you could always feel free to book a session and I could help you with your darling child that deserves the best. This is actually extremely simple. It's only the second layer of the onion. Sometimes it's very complex. A child comes home and the parent is critical of him. There's no really bond, there's no love, there's no smile, there's no good feeling of a deep, lovable connection, which as human beings we deeply crave, and as children we deeply need from our parents. As adults we could start doing it on our own, but as children we're not capable yet. And the focus is, which our parents got it from their parents, there's so many flaws that just bounce from one generation to the next. How did you do on your test? I want you to be a good citizen. I want you to get a good mark. I don't want you to be like those people that don't have a job. And basically, like we spoke about in different series, they start infusing this poison in the child. They don't say these words, but that's where the brain picks up. I want you to be a good machine. I want you to be a good machine. But to see the parent ever smile when the child comes home from school, that the child gets the feeling that my parent is so happy to see me, that rarely exists. So the first example is there's a tremendous amount of criticism. There's a tremendous amount of criticism. Sorry, that's the second one. The first one is it's all about performance. My mistake. It's all about performance. It's all about performance. The second one is it's about criticism. So when the child does good, and parents actually told me that, the child does good, they won't really say too much because a child's meant to do good. But the second the child fights with a sibling, holy moly, the parent finds enough words and a beautiful vocabulary to tell their child off and to tell them how they're making them so upset and why can't they behave. And the child begins to hear just criticism, like coming home, you're going to be criticized. Wait, so we shouldn't criticize our children when they act up? We shouldn't criticize our children when we ask them so kindly not to do certain things and they constantly do it? Well, you might want to refer to one of my first series of why children misbehave. There's like 21 videos. This is one of them. I'm not saying we should not, but even within the simple stuff, the child only gets negative feedback and doesn't get positive feedback. So in both cases, the child doesn't belong. In the first case where there isn't so much negative feedback, criticism, but it's all about the child's performance, and we want the child to be a good citizen. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a good citizen, but it's the only focus is how this human being will work out, how they will perform. And almost we forget that there's love, almost forget that there's a bond, almost forget that the child needs 90% nurture. And we don't know, like we talked about this in so much in other series, that if a child is happy, and if a child is content, and if a child has a bond, by default, they will produce. By default, they will want to be good in school. Every child wants to grow. Wait, so what's the connection? So why do they go there? Why do they go to the bad kids? They're also bad. So you're telling me as a parent that my environment is not so good because I'm treating them like machines, which I don't even realize, but maybe I'll think about it because that's the way my parents did with me. Okay, I'll do some critical thinking, and here I criticize them. Okay, I hear you. But why do they go with the bad kids? Like, how does that get rectified? How do they become better people? What makes them happy? That's a good question. So please join me in the third week of the second episode of community deflection, that we deflect to other people around us. And with our son or daughter, it is definitely in our mind their fault, not ours. But here we see in this week, there's two general aspects that cause them to go somewhere else. Exactly the connection. Next week we will do it. Until then, always remember, you are way greater than you think you are.